Welcome back to the channel. This your boy Deonte, and I'm back with another video. Make sure you tap the like as you come in, as we got some breaking news regarding Ozzy Osbourne. Again, Ozzy Osbourne. Breaking news: Ozzy Osbourne has passed away at age 76. Ozzy Osbourne has passed away at age 76. And I'm telling you, I hate times like this because it is like it just doesn't stop. Yesterday was Malcolm Jamal Warner. Today is Ozzy Osbourne, um, world renowned rock star. Uh, Prince of Darkness was the lead singer of the group Black Sabbath. Passed away today. He has passed away. You know, his journey began from the streets of Birmingham. He rose to global stardom and paved his way into music. He overcame addiction. Well, I don't know if he actually overcame addiction, but I know he struggled with addiction for many years and had a lot of controversy in his life, right? And that's just what it is, man. He is finally is over with. He passed away. He passed away, and the internet is buzzing right now. The internet is buzzing. It's just, wow. It just, they say it happened in threes. I can't stand that because, man, sometimes it be truthful when they say it happens in threes. But he was born John Michael Osborne in Birmingham, England, um, in 1948. He came from a poor working class family. Six kids in a tiny house, no fame, no glitz, just survival. And he had dyslexia. Dropped out of school at 15, bounced around from job to job. He even did time in jail for burglary. You know what I'm saying? Um, he used to say music was the only thing that made him feel alive, you know. But from the very start, it said that he wasn't normal. He was dark, obsessed with horror films, the occult, and the idea of rebellion. And when coming up in those times, there was a lot of hippies, 1960s, 1970s, you know, that's just what it was in that generation. In 1969, he formed a band with his neighborhood friends, the Black Sabbath. And they weren't just playing music, they were making demonic, apocalyptic soundtracks for a generation lost in war and chaos. If y'all remember back in that time, it was a lot of war going on. Just a lot of stuff around the 60s and the 70s era. We were deep in the Vietnam War around that time, if y'all remember. Um, his lyrics, they touched on war, drugs, and the devil. Iron Man, Paranoid, and War Pigs became anthems around that time. And he all of a sudden became more than a man. He became a symbol of everything conservative America feared. America definitely feared this kind of movement. A lot of preachers call him satanic. Parents were burning their kids' records because the kids worshiped this guy. He became an idol. And that's what I talk about. Y'all can't be idol worshipers. A lot of y'all still worship stars today. A lot of people worship Michael Jackson. A lot of people worshiped Elvis. People have to really, really know what idolatry means. You know what I'm saying? Um, Ozzy just didn't push the line. He snorted it. The drug habit he had was out of control. The drinking. I mean, it became very, very, overwhelming to the band that the Black. It became overwhelming. A lot of groups back then had this issue. A lot of groups, Temptations battled with drugs. A lot of groups back in this, almost every musically inclined group, every big group had problems. Every group around the era had problems. So he was kicked out. The drinking and the drugs abuse was out of control. They kicked him out of Black Sabbath back in 1979 for being too wild. Even for them, even for that group, they said Ozzy Osbourne was too wild. But that moment actually defined Ozzy. You know what I'm saying? But him being kicked out because in 1982, this is the year I was born, on stage in Des Moines, Iowa, he bit the head off a bat. The crowd thought it was fake, but it wasn't. He had to get rabies shots, all types of stuff. It was shocking, disturbing, but it made him a legend. Stuff like, I never understood why people, give credence to this kind of behavior. The shock value behind stuff. People really push for shock value. They push for a lot of extreme stuff. People don't get behind like normal clean things. They like the shock value. People will support you if you add a lot of shock value, a lot of controversy to your content, whatever it is. But that was the moment that the world knew that Ozzy, he just wasn't a rock star. He was something else, something way darker. You know, he had a lot of personal demons behind the scenes. Ozzy was battling real demons. And make sure y'all tap the like as y'all come in as I'm talking about this. Ozzy Osbourne has passed away at age 76. At age 76, Ozzy Osbourne passed away. But yeah, he battled a lot of personal demons and he had a lot of family chaos. He tried to strangle his wife, Sharon, in a blackout during a drug binge. I mean, this guy went on endless drug binges. He was arrested, but through all that, she stood by him. If y'all remember the show they had, the reality TV show, the wife and the kids, they really stood by this guy. And to me, he was out of his mind then. I can tell when I was observing Ozzy on that show, because I watched the show here and there, not the full show, but I watched a few episodes and, kind of just flicked it between shows, whatever. But I can tell that drugs had a lasting toll on him. So stay off of drugs. Stay off of drugs. But they had three kids, Amy, Kelly, and Jack. And that reality show they had back in the 2000s made him a household name. You know what I'm saying? But a lot of fans started to see the cracks in him. Like I said, I observed he had a lot of slurred speech, shaky movements, and he revealed that he was diagnosed with Parkinson's back in 2020. Back in 2020, it came out he was diagnosed with Parkinson's, and that is very devastating. That's a very devastating disease to have. Muhammad Ali had Parkinson's. Uh, is that I think and I don't know if that's what Michael J. Fox have. I'm not sure. I believe Michael J. Fox suffers from Parkinson's as well. I'm not sure. I have to check that. But was he really satanic? Was he really satanic? Um, let's talk about this. There's a lot of rumors surrounding him being satanic. The Satanism, the curses, and the so-called deal with the devil. Now he came out and denied being a Satanist, but leaned all the way into the imagery, crosses, blood, demons. He was banned from San Antonio, Texas for urinating on the Alamo. Like, it was just a lot of stuff with this guy. People believe he cursed his fans and that his music triggered people to unalive themselves. This is devastating. This is crazy. But this was the artist, this was the icon that people worship. People idolize this guy. You know, Ozzy said that his faith in God was real, even if his image wasn't. And that's what I talk about. Sometimes people will push an image. People will push an image behind the art. But you got to be careful because a lot of people idolize these type people. You got to be careful about the image you put out. Even modern day music, trap music, drill music. People think one thing, but these people go home and they live their life. They rich. They live the life of the rich and famous. He said he was deep rooted in faith in God, but he put out an imagery that he was a satanic devil worshiper and stuff like that, biting bats off the heads and shit like that. You know, and I remember he once said that I've seen the devil, I've seen God. I'd rather walk with God. Was it showbiz or was it this he trying to escape something deeper? You know, the last few years he had were very hard. He canceled multiple tours, underwent multiple surgeries, and spoke publicly about his regrets. He said he hated being remembered only for the drugs and madness, and that's what a lot of people will remember him off of: the drugs and the madness, the biting of the head off the bat. Make sure you tap the like as you come in. Salute to you. Tap the like. Salute to you. But a lot of people only gonna remember him for the drugs and the madness, and that's what a lot of these artists, a lot of these people that went out like this, or just went out, period, or remember for the controversy. Not remember for the major contributions, but the controversies behind their career, the behind the scenes stuff, the drugs, the egos, the publicity stunts, multiple arrests. A lot of people don't remember for the contributions. If you made positive contributions to music or to acting or to any kind of entertainment, this entertainment world is very dark. And a lot of people they so want to be in this entertainment thing, but it's a lot of darkness that goes on in the entertainment world. But he like you said, he hated being remembered for only drugs and all the controversy and the madness surrounding his career. He wanted to be known. He wanted somebody to really know him as somebody who survived it all. You know what I'm saying? That's what he wanted to be known for, someone who overcame and survived it all. Someone who never quit, even when his body gave up on him. But it's kind of hard because the career is overshadowed with so much darkness. You know, Ozzy Osbourne, he just wasn't a rock star. He was a mirror, a reflection of your own darkness, rebellion. And sometimes the pain that we try to numb with chaos, a lot of people will try to numb their pain with chaos. I see it every day with people that will try to numb their pain with chaos. People will try to numb their pain through drinking. People will try to numb their pain through drugs. People will try to numb their pain through sex. They used all this as coping mechanisms. Your pain and trauma can be treated a lot of times with unhealthy coping mechanisms. You understand? I see this a lot in regular everyday people. These celebrities that a lot of people worship, they go through it the worst. They have problems just like everybody else. They they have everyday problems just like everybody else. They battle with addiction. They battle with depression. They battle with mental health issues. They battle with everyday issues just like everybody else. Some of them have access to better doctors and better resources, but they battle things just like everybody else. That's why it's important to not try to idolize these people because they dealing with probably more stuff than we dealing with. I've known the celebrities that live paycheck to paycheck. I've known of celebrities that live paycheck to paycheck, struggle just like everybody else, waiting for that next moment, the next hit, the next movie, the next breakthrough. But when you get high on your high horse, sometimes that pride get in the way of looking for help. Sometimes the fame become too much for a lot of people. Sometimes the fame actually becomes too much for people. Sometimes that limelight triggers even more problems, even deeper problems. That thirst for fame, the thirst for fame, the drive to keep on keeping up this image for everybody. A lot of these artists push the limit. They will push the limit to make their name bigger and make just to keep the people engaged. They push the limit. They just go further and further and further. And people get behind that. Make sure you tap the like as you come in. We're covering breaking news of Ozzy Osbourne passing away at 76. And like I said, you know what? I got to say this. I don't want to hear none of these content creators, none of these YouTubers, none of these people talking about blood sacrifices. I felt it was very disrespectful yesterday when I heard a lot of content creators coming up talking about the death of Malcolm Jamal Warner being a blood sacrifice and this and that. I can't stand it. Anything for a fucking click. Anything for a click. Anything to clickbait people into viewing their content and people feed into that shit. If you're going to report a story, just report the damn story and stick to the factual story. Stick to the facts. We all know the industry have dark elements to it. But to come out and say that the man was a blood sacrifice, that's just overboard. And these content creators know exactly who the hell they are that do this stuff, man. It's sick. It's sickening, man. Anything for a damn click. But yeah, if you're coming in, make sure you tap the like as you come in. Ozzy Osbourne passed away at 76, lead singer of the group Black Sabbath. Never heard none of the music. Don't care to hear none of the music. I remember being at work one time and there was a young chick in there, black chick, actual black chick that was listening to Black Sabbath, and another guy, black guy, older guy, got pissed because he said, "I'm a Christian. I don't listen to this kind of music. That's demonic music." And I never knew what Black Sabbath was until I looked into it and I said, "Oh, Ozzy Osbourne's the lead singer of this." And I remembered Ozzy Osbourne from the show. from the show. I never pretty much knew who Ozzy Osbourne was until they came out with that show, the Osbournes or whatever it was. But yeah, this is just, they say it come in threes. Yesterday was Malcolm Jamal Warner. We gonna rebuke that. I don't wish that spirit of death on anybody. I just hear about a lot of death. Just last week I lost a friend, a close friend of mine. And that spirit of death is real. But we don't want to give credence. We don't want to give glory to that. We want to give glory to the Most High. you know. And like I said, Ozzy Osbourne said he had faith in God. He chose to walk with God. But you sold out, in my opinion, when you projected this. You had this image of the Prince of Darkness. For years, people recognize you as the Prince of Darkness. You have to be careful about the energy you put out there. Maybe the health problems was that karma. You know, if you're gonna utilize your gifts, because it's a gift to have artistry. It's a gift. That's a blessing to be able to sing and entertain, but use that platform to glorify the Most High. Your platform should be used to glorify the Most High. Even if you had addiction, or you struggle with depression, or struggle with mental health issues, or struggle with different things, let your struggle and you overcoming that struggle be a testimony, a living testimony to the glory of God, to how the Lord can help you to overcome those things, and sing songs of that. Use your platform to give glory to the Almighty God. But a lot of people, they ride on their high horses. They get to fame and they forget about God. And the only time you hear anything about God sometimes is when they receiving an award. I just want to give thanks to God for making this happen. But where was God in the lyrics? Where was God in the performances? Where was God? You see a lot of people on stage doing rituals on stage. And I never really looked at it like that until, a lot of people, when I started doing this YouTube thing, and then, I met my partner, my spouse. She started telling me about this kind of stuff. I was naive to all this. So my partner opened up my eyes to a lot of this stuff. She opened up my eyes to a lot of this stuff. So we watch what we let our kids see on TV and stuff like that. We watch the kind of things we allow to be shown on TV in the house, and the things that are coming through the airwaves, because you got to protect your ear gates. You got to guard your eye gates. You need protection on you at all times, because, you know, music like this can invite, and you're inviting dark entities into your aura. And when you invite through these dark entities, stuff start happening in your life and you wondering why. It was said that some of his music influenced people to self-delete. That's because they invited these dark entities, these dark forces, through music, through influence. And then what? An eternity in hell, all because of a damn song or some music? We have to be careful. But yes, as you come in, we're discussing the breaking news that Ozzy Osbourne has passed away at 76. Yeah, it's hit the internet. Um, it's been confirmed through several reliable sources that it is true that Ozzy Osbourne has passed away. Real renowned star, music icon. For those who followed that career, I didn't follow his career musically. I didn't know who Ozzy Osbourne was until I seen the actual reality TV show. But yeah, just, I hate to see anybody pass away, and I hope he had his life right with the Most High, that he spent his last days and lived in repentance and asked for forgiveness for all of this. Because in my opinion, just my opinion, when you have influence, you become responsible for those souls. That's why it's important to put out content, content that's positive, content that's going to influence positivity. You understand? So yeah, let me know what y'all think about this. Ozzy Osbourne, lead singer of Black Sabbath. musical icon, TV personality, has passed away at 76 years old. It's being confirmed by several reliable news sources that Ozzy Osbourne has passed away. Let me know y'all thoughts about this. What were some of your memories or thoughts on Ozzy Osbourne as an individual, as an entertainer? As an entertainer, because we barely know the actual people. We only see the camera. We don't know what goes on day to day in their households. We only see what the cameras allows us to see. Even with reality TV, it's edited. You see just a glimpse inside a lot of these people's personal lives, but we don't know them. He said himself he chose to walk with God. But after all those years, I know God forgives. But after all those years of doing this demonic stuff on stage, and I know he still was performing a few years ago, so I don't know if he was still performing some of them old songs. But when you choose to walk with God, you choose to walk with God. You let old things go away. Old things pass away about yourself. Old habits, old nasty habits, people, things. You understand? But I'm about to get out of here. I just wanted to drop a quick video about this topic and get y'all thoughts and opinions about this, man. Make sure y'all subscribe to the channel. Let me know what y'all think. Make sure you get a video a thumbs up. Make sure you share this. It's important to support platforms, especially our content creators that puts out factual information, that puts out things that will help people and give glory to the Most High. I do different topics, but a lot of my topics I do give glory to the Most High. And I tell people I suggest to people how to better and do better in life. But I see a lot of people get behind garbage. They get behind garbage. A lot of people support. Let me know y'all thoughts about this. Love him or hate him. He lived his truth in the loudest, darkest way possible to the fans. But we don't know what happened behind closed doors. This man probably did a show and went and dropped to his knees and prayed right after. We don't know. But he's gone. He has passed away. And let me know y'all thoughts about this. It's your boy Deonte. I'm out. Peace.
Thank you for watching. Like, share, subscribe. Donations can be made to the Cash App. Thank you so much. God bless you.
Deep by Apollo, stop at New Apollos. Cop a Henny sour, and I'm puffing Jack Sour. Yeah, I feel a black power. Yeah, this time is really ours. It's time to get the bag. Yeah, it's time to get the bag. Yeah, yeah. Dollars coming, let me see it. Multi